Hey guys, halfclickup here. Welcome back to the channel. Today, what are we doing? Well, we're doing a lot, guys. First off, here's our workstation. Not ideal, however, it is in the shade. It is in the shade. So it could be worse, right? Anyways, today's business. We're going to swap rear brake rotors. We're going to swap rear brake pads. We're going to swap rear brake line. Install a stainless steel line from Spiegler. And what else? We're going to hopefully get to the front and we're going to do a fluid flush on the front brakes. And I guess that's about it, y'all. It doesn't seem like a whole lot. However, there's a lot of work to be done. There's a certain order of operations here, right? The rear wheel's got to come off. And it's a lot of work, but we'll get it done. And by God, it ain't gonna do itself. So there ain't nothing but to do it to it.
Turn the club into a freak show. Snow White eating rotten apples, dirty bass that be coming at you. Roller coasters like a supernova, round the ringmaster, this my tabernacle. See you screaming, I'm like, what for? Oh, you pop? Yeah, I got popcorn. I've been wake up on.
It's just like old pad material. Isn't that crazy? Don't really know what to think about that, man. The rear brake is just coming apart at the seams. Look at that.
Yo, everybody's getting geek, bro. Stop the hate and let them leaks know that we turn the club into a freak show. Turn the club to a freak show. Turn the club to a freak show. Turn the club, yeah, we turn the club to a freak show. Turn the club into a freak show.
And okay guys, so we have the wheel off, just chilling. Here's our brake rotor. It is a number 6mm to get all these bolts off. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. 5 of these bolts will come out, brake rotor will separate, put the new brake rotor on.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
Whew, guys. Whew, man, okay. Oh, goodness gracious. Let me catch my breath here. We just had full-on panic mode, y'all, because very first one of these I got after, it rounded out, y'all. Look at this. Look at the fight I had to put up with to get that out of there. It absolutely rounded out, and it was everything I could do to get the trusty old vice grips. These locking jaws, man. Talk about a lifesaver. I don't know what the hell it would have done, y'all. Now, obviously, I'm gonna have to order a new bolt, and it looks like we'll be running 4 for a little while. Not the safest thing in the world, but better than running with 1 or 2, right? So, anyways, crisis averted for now. I'm gonna finish getting this bolt out, and then I will way more gently get after the rest of them. And by the way, now that I have this thing out of here, do you see why it rounded off? Blue Loctite. Yep. I guess that's factory Loctite. Yeah, it's gonna be a very gentle process to try and get the rest of these things out, man. Golly. Okay guys, now I've loosened all of these. There's one more to go, but as I have made my way around these remaining bolts, I want you guys to appreciate the great care, the gentle fulcrum, if you will, the leverage being applied to these bolts, because now our assumption is that every damn last one of them is blue Loctited. Okay, so I'm using a breaker bar with very gentle pressure to break these bolts loose, and like I said, I've gotten all of them broken loose. I got one more to go, and I want you guys to see. Maybe I'll zoom in a little bit. How about that? That ought to work. So check this out. I go in, look, I go in straight up and down to make sure that the bit is seated as nicely and snugly, all the way bottomed out. Kind of wiggle it back and forth, just make sure. All right. And now we're going to apply gentle force to break this bolt. There it is. Okay. Whew, gotta be careful, guys. And now we'll go back to our old, our trusty socket tool here, and we should be able to get them out the rest of the way, just by conventional means. Okay guys, major bump in the road. Major freaking bump in the road. The Volar rotor does not fit. I've already put the old rotor back on there. Also, I've been sitting here and I've been trying to figure out what it is I'm going to do now. So one thing that is for sure is the rotor doesn't fit. Here's some pictures. Check this out. I've got to show you these pictures because I've already reassembled the stupid thing with the old rotor. But as you can see in these pictures, the holes simply don't line up. I mean, it's pretty cut and dry, y'all. The the holes literally just don't line up. And in fact, the rotor is just a little bit too big on the end. Or I'm sorry, is that right? Big or small? The inside diameter of the rotor is too small. Yeah, that's what it is. It's too small. It won't actually seat on the hub at all anyways. So it won't seat and the holes don't line up. So there's that. And so here's the other conundrum. We have to make a decision, right? We have to decide what we're gonna do in the meantime. So obviously, I've got to start the return process, right? I've got to start the return process for the rotor, and I got to get this bike put back together. So we have two options. The first option, of course, is leave the thing in pieces. We can leave the bike in pieces and just drive the Ram to work for the near future. Now, I'm not really feeling that though, y'all. I mean, I commute on this bike. I'm a daily rider. It's just, you know, do you feel me? You know what I mean? Like, it's not that I don't want to drive my Ram to work. It's that it's the principle of the thing. So what are we dealing with here? So the rotor didn't fit. However, that was just one little piece of a very large puzzle, right? We have new pads that need to go in. We have new fluid that's got to go in. We have a stainless steel line to go on. I mean, theoretically, we can actually put the entire thing back together with all the other new parts, and we simply will have an old kind of chewed up rotor. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the idea of running brand new pads on that bunk rotor, but it'll just be for a week. I mean, it can't just totally destroy the pads in that short amount of time. So I think that's what I'm going to do, y'all. I think we're going to go ahead and continue on with the project and pretend like we never had a new rotor anyways, and we'll just go ahead and do this big this rear brake swap. Let's just knock it out, man. It is what it is. It sucks. Very inconvenient, y'all. Freaking very inconvenient having to deal with this whole return process now, and you know, to get the correct rotor. Hell, I might even just go ahead and order an OEM rotor, y'all. I don't know. The aftermarket, it's not looking too friendly, so I don't think it's worth chancing again. I think I might just go ahead and order a factory rotor. I don't know. We'll see. Let me do some research, figure out what it is we're going to do. In the meantime, we've got a brake system to finish up as much as we can. Alright guys, this is just jacked up. I just popped this little retainer out of here, and I just stuck it back in there so you guys can see exactly where it is to begin with. Let me try and zoom in just a little. So this little clip that's supposed to ride in here, let me pop it back out. You can tell it's not seated correctly, right? You see that grooving right there, that scarring? I don't know what that's all about, but this is all twisted up. Something was not jiving. I don't know, man. Like, this piston apparently was pushing against this clip in some fashion. I don't know. And furthermore, look at these pads. Look at that. What the hell is going on here? Look at the uneven wear. Look at that piece just come off of my hand. Look at this. What the hell's going on here? We have a situation. I mean, it's all like the truth is coming out, right? Like all the evidence that we have a problem. Geez. What would be easier, man? What would be easier? Finding a new one of these? Unless I can bend this back into shape, I can't quite tell whether or not it's broken. Look how bent up it is, man. So like this piston was pinching it, like squeezing it, warping it, to where it actually scarred inside there. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. Am I gonna create a bigger headache for myself by trying to salvage all this? I say salvage all this. It's. I'm sure the caliper's fine, but I don't know. There's some things to figure out here for sure. I wonder if it's related to the fact that I've never changed the fluid. Perhaps the brake fluid in this system no longer has the proper... I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know enough about it. I can only hypothesize as to why this is happening the way it's happening. You know, all I've ever done in the past was put new brake pads on, and these are actually EBC pads that I put on here, and they shouldn't have wore out this quickly. You know, they shouldn't have just tore up like that. And this might have something to do with the very root cause as to why this piston is operating cattywampus the way it is. I don't know, guys. Yet more stuff to figure out. Okay guys, so I went ahead and I think I'm able to salvage everything here. I got this clip bent back as straight as I can get it, and it seats in the caliper just fine. So we're gonna try and utilize this clip again. Now I already have the pads removed from the caliper. I have the caliper line all loosened up off of the clips and stuff in there, and I've gotten the piston nice and shiny and clean. I wrapped this rubber boot with a paper towel, wrapped it up real good, and just, you know, spritzed it with brake parts cleaner, and then I went back and I wiped the piston clean. Alright guys, and there we go. I got the piston fully compressed. I'm gonna go ahead and put the wheel assembly back on the bike so that we can put this caliper into position, bolt her back up into place so that we can go ahead and get the new pads mounted, and get this whole assembly back 100% on the bike, on the wheel, on the rotor, so that we can concentrate on getting the fluid out of this system and swapping the brake line. But I mean, actually, let's go ahead and get the clip back in there. Let's get the brake pads mounted up on here. That way it's all just hanging, ready to go, and all we got to do is just, you know, mount the entire unit onto the rotor once the wheel assembly is back installed. So this is how this goes. You want it centered in there, and it doesn't exactly click or anything, but it kind of just, you know, it's in there when it's in there, you know what I mean? It's like evenly placed in there, almost like it, I don't know, belongs there. Now you can see it's still a little cattywampus. It's just a smidge bent this way. I did the best I could, because I don't even know what this thing is called. First off, brake pad retainer clip, I don't know, spring clip, I don't know, but I've never even tried to look for one of those to purchase. You know, I don't know if you can get that damn thing separately, maybe from cheapcycleparts.com. So I don't know, but I'm gonna try and avoid all that. I want to get this damn thing back together. So I got it bent back into shape best I can. I think it'll work. Should be fine. So there's that. Now let's get the pads in there. Got these EBC double H centers. Made in the US of A by a guy. Nice. Good quality pad, man. Something like that, yeah? Something like that. And that little booger goes in there. Voila. And so there it is, man. And so of course the piston, once you start hitting that pedal, the fluid travels through the system and causes that piston to compress onto the brake pads. There you go. So with any luck, that little clip in there is going to function correctly, and we'll just have to worry about getting that correct brake rotor in. Anyways guys, let's go ahead and now that we got the caliper and pad assembly together, let's go ahead and get that wheel in and get everything all mounted up. Alright guys, so everything's back together, caliper's on, pads are seated, I went ahead and did the chain adjustment and everything already, so everything's good to go. I want to be able to just bleed the fluid out of here, pop the stainless line on, put fluid, new fresh fluid in the system, bleed it of air, and then rock and roll for a test ride. So let's get after it, man. So you see here, here's our Mighty Vac. I've already got it all built, if you will. On the end here is a little fitting for that brake bleeder. Pop the sucker on there. Right. And we'll see if it'll hold a vacuum. You want to bring it up to about 20, as I understand it. Alright, so it's holding vacuum. Take this little number 8mm and we're going to crack it, and what we should see is fluid just go shooting on in. Okay guys, here's the old brake line. I've got it off. See there? Yeah, so that entire fluid evacuation thing was a little bit more strenuous and tedious than I thought it was going to be. The problem is I've never done it before, and so I'm like trying to learn the Mighty Vac at the same time I'm trying to pull this off, you know. And I actually got the wife to come out here a minute ago to just to hold this this little fitting here. See, it goes on there like so, and then you crack it open and, you know, tighten it closed, crack it open, tighten it closed, drawing a vacuum with the pump here. But anyways, it doesn't just stay there, you know what I mean? It just wants to flop over. So I had the wife come out and hold it so that I could do this, man, because holy moly. Anyways, this is going to be another cutscene because I need both hands, and I'm probably going to get the wife to come back out here when I get to filling the system back up with fluid, just so I have an extra set of hands, because it's difficult when you've never done it before, man. Like, it sucks having to discover things and learn at the same time you're trying to like shoot these videos, you know. It's always a challenge. But anyways, let's get this Spiegler unit on there, and when we come back it should be installed. We'll see. Here we go.
1 week later.
Well, so here we are. I've been riding with the Spiegler line for 5 days now, and so as you can probably guess, no, I did not document the installation process of this line. You know, guys, I had gotten so overwhelmed with all of the issues that I kept running into on this project that I just became totally frustrated. I decided to scrap the camera. I needed to get the damn line on there because I was quickly running out of daylight, and in fact I did run out of daylight to the point where I couldn't do the front flush. So this squishy ass garbage, that's still a thing. So I'm gonna do that flush this weekend and see how much better it gets. But anyways, the topic of the hour, right? The Spiegler line. Now I'll tell you, when I installed this thing, one of the most impressive aspects, and it's a little thing, but it's a thing, this mount right here. This mount came on the line already. Now I had to, you know, scoot it. I think I scooted it back a little bit to get the line up to be just the way I wanted it. But I was impressed by that, man. The fact that it came with a mount that attaches directly to the factory mounting tab here, and that's cool because that just goes to show you the R&D that Spiegler puts into their products, right? This was literally made for the FZ6R. With that being said, and so let's talk about performance, right? How good is the Spiegler rear line? Well, I'll tell you this. Before the pads were properly bedded in, the line is actually so responsive that all it wanted to do was lock up the rear wheel. During my initial test ride, you know, I wasn't mashing the thing as hard as I could, but I did want to kind of get a feel for just how powerful the line is, and yeah, sure enough, it repeatedly locked up the rear wheel. I was like, damn. Now, you know, a week later, the pads, of course, are properly bedded in, and yes, I can still lock up the rear wheel way easier than I could before, but it's not a safety issue or anything like that, man. I mean, you really gotta like just smash the hell out of it for it to lock up, but it will lock up on you, which, you know, it's impressive, man. It goes to show you the line does indeed have way higher pressure holding capability than the factory rubber garbage. So there's that. But yeah, man, I'm very happy with the purchase. Am I gonna go ahead and do the front? Yeah, absolutely. Yep, another $110 on the old eBay, and that'll get you the front lines. So that'll be coming up in another video. It was just so damn aggravating, man. Like, of course, I won't anticipate having the same issues when I go to do the front. So I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, to answer the question, I am most definitely gonna go ahead and order the front lines here soon. And I tell you, man, I'm even actually excited just to see what a fluid flush is gonna do on this damn lever, this squishy ass son of a bitch. I mean, comparing the front brakes as they are now with 9-year-old brake fluid, comparing that to the rear brake, it's apples and oranges, y'all, you know. And in fact, I'll go as far to say this, the braking pressures required just to come to a normal stop are way skewed. You know, it's supposed to be like 70-30 front and rear. Shit, dude, this rear line is so responsive now, it's more like 80-20 or 90-10. I mean, I'm actually using my rear brake more than the front now, which is a first, but it's just, you know, the rear works. Now, of course, there's the other question, right? The rear brake rotor. Man, what a cluster that was, y'all. It's, God, and so disappointing too. Well, so I spoke to the customer service at D2 Moto out of Pomona, California, and real nice customer service. The only idea the lady on the phone had was that this bike was like a in-between generation type model, which is actually false, because as an FZ6R rider, or rather if you are an FZ6R rider, and I know a lot of you are, you already know that this bike has remained unchanged from 2009, which is this model, all the way until now. So the 2019 bike is going to be the same as this freaking 2009. There was no generation gap or anything like that. It's always been the same bike. Now, I just kept my mouth shut. It wasn't even worth trying to get into that kind of a discussion with her. I was just, you know, happy to hear that they wanted to just give me a refund. I wanted to exchange for the correct part, but long story short, she indicated to me that the part that they sent me was, according to their not records, but, you know, whatever, according to them, as far as they knew, it was the correct rotor. And clearly, as you guys saw from the pictures earlier, it was not the correct rotor, man. Whatever that's for, it's not for an FZ6R. You know, maybe it fits like a older model R6 or something like that. I don't know, but either way, so ultimately, what's going to be my decision? Like, what's the next steps? Guys, to be honest, I think I'm just going to let her ride. Now, it's only been a week, but I can tell you, just looking at the pads, there doesn't seem to be any kind of weird wearing issue starting or anything. That clip that I had to bend back into shape, it appears to be holding up in the correct position. It's not pinched or anything. And of course, time will tell. But for now, I think I'm just going to go ahead and roll with the rotor that's on there. And it could be my imagination because it's only been a week. But I think some of those grooves are starting to flatten out. I think the pads are heating that shit up, and it's starting to flatten it back out. Now I may be completely delusional with that statement, but it makes me feel better. It makes me feel better hypothesizing such a thing, even if it might be horseshit. But yeah, so we'll just roll with this rotor for now, and we'll see how it acts, see what all it does in the long run. But as far as getting a new rotor goes, if I do get a new rear rotor, which of course I plan on doing eventually, I've decided to go with the EBC rotor. Same company that made the pads that I installed. Couple of reasons why. The first reason is that, of course, EBC is an actual major company, right? I had never heard of Volar. I also couldn't find any bad reviews on Volar or anything, but look, the point is, the Volar rotor just did not fit. And I'm pretty confident that an EBC, good quality name brand rotor, will fit. Now, EBC makes a couple of different offerings for the FZ6R, and the one I would go with is the V rotor. It's kind of got like a wave rotor pattern to it, but it's got these V cuts that go all the way around the rotor. And anyways, $137, y'all. $137 for a brake rotor. And therein lies the issue that I'm not gonna order that thing right now. $137. Holy crap, man. $137 is more than the damn front Spiegler lines, you know? I can't justify a $137 brake rotor. Not right now. So we're gonna hold off on that. Anyways, guys, I don't mean to turn this entire installation video into a 45-minute long video. Who the hell is going to watch that, right? But I did want to just touch base with you guys. I kind of had to explain why there was no footage for me installing the line. So there's that. But coming down the pipe, I got a couple ideas, man. I still got a couple of moderately priced upgrades I'm going to go ahead and order here soon. But that's a topic of discussion for another video. If you liked the installation video, and if you liked any of these installation videos you've been watching as a subscriber over the past few weeks, smash the like button. If you're new here, if you're an FZ6R rider trying to learn more stuff about the FZ6R, and some mods, the things you can do to make them faster, make it more fun, then subscribe. There's a little bell in there somewhere. You know what I'm talking about. Click the bell. It's been Half Click Up, y'all. I'm out of here. Y'all have a good weekend. Peace. Goodbye. 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 Goodbye.